There's a word most people hate to admit applies to them. Manipulated. It sounds extreme. It sounds like something only weak people fall for. But the truth? Most of us have been manipulated at some point. By a friend, a boss, maybe by a partner, by a family member, even by our own thoughts and emotions. Manipulation is subtle. It creeps in through guilt, fear, obligation, flattery, or even silence. And before you know it, you're living by someone else's script. You're carrying weights you were never meant to hold. You're saying yes when your heart is screaming no. You're confused, exhausted, and wondering why your boundaries keep getting violated. So today, let's talk about it. How do you stop being manipulated? How do you reclaim your voice, your choices, your peace, and your power? First, you've got to recognize the signs of manipulation. The first step to ending it is realizing when it's happening. Manipulators use patterns. Let's go over some of them. Most importantly, well, maybe not most importantly, but one very common one is gaslighting. They make you doubt your reality. You remember something clearly, they insist it never happened. You feel hurt, they say you're too sensitive. Maybe you raise a concern, and they flip it to make you the problem. And then there's guilt tripping. They use your kindness against you. They remind you of everything they've done for you. So you feel obligated to say yes to things you shouldn't. Then there's the good old-fashioned silent treatment. They withdraw love, attention, or approval until you cave. You start over-apologizing just to fix the tension. And then you've got the passive-aggressive. They never actually address the issue directly. They use sarcasm, subtle digs, and background compliments to control your emotions. And then there's triangulation. This is when they bring others into the situation to manipulate you indirectly. They say things like, even they think you're overreacting. Or maybe, everyone else agrees with me. Have you ever heard any of this stuff? If any of this feels familiar, know this. You're not crazy. You are probably normally not overreacting. But you are clearly being manipulated. And once you learn to recognize it and you see it, you can stop it. First thing you're going to have to do is reclaim your right to boundaries. Because boundaries are not walls. They are clarity. They tell people where you end and they begin. You see, You are responsible for guarding your peace, not for managing everyone else's emotions. You don't have to answer every call. You don't have to respond to every text. You don't have to meet every expectation. You have the right to say, I'm not available for that. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not going to tolerate that behavior. And you can say it without guilt. Because you don't have to live that way. You've got to stop trying to earn approval. One of the main ways manipulators hook you is by making you crave their approval. They give you little hints of validation when you do what they want. Then they take it away and withhold it when you don't. You see, here's the truth. You don't need their approval to be whole. You don't need anyone's permission to live in peace. So you've got to stop chasing people who only love you when you obey them. You've also got to detach from manipulative emotions. Most manipulators thrive on emotional chaos. They create confusion, so you second guess yourself. They use fear, guilt, anger, or even charm to control you. Your job? Simply detach. Don't engage the drama. Don't take their bait. Stay calm. And simply respond. Don't react. The person who can stay calm holds the power. You owe no one a dramatic emotional reaction. You've also got to stand firm in the truth. Manipulators rewrite reality. They twist facts, they spin narratives, they make you question what's true. Your job is to stand on what you know. Write things down if you want to. Journal. Document boundaries. Just stay rooted in what's real, not what they want you to believe. And you don't have to convince them. You don't have to win anyone else's approval. You just have to stand firm and walk away if necessary. And being willing to walk away sometimes is the hardest thing to do. But sometimes it's also the only way to stop being manipulated. Sometimes you have to leave the relationship. Leave the job. End a friendship. Sometimes it's even family members. But as long as you understand that walking away isn't failure, it's strength. It's protecting your future and your peace. Because we were not created to be someone else's emotional hostage. We were created to spend our lives not being controlled. If someone consistently manipulates you despite clear boundaries that you've put in place, it is healthy and necessary for you to walk away. And the last, probably most damaging, is to not forget who you are. Because at the end of the day, manipulation loses power when you remember your identity. You're not anybody else's to control. You are nobody's mold. You're certainly not theirs to fix. You are whole. You are capable. You are free. You were not born to live your life for someone else's approval. You were born to create, lead, build, love, and live authentically, the way you see it. So here's some final thoughts. The battle to stop being manipulated is really the battle to reclaim your mind, your emotions, and your identity. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your constant agreement. And you certainly don't owe anyone access to your life just because they demand it. The moment you stop engaging their game, you start to win. The moment you draw boundaries and stick to them, most importantly, you win. The moment you stop fearing what they'll say and start honoring what you know is right, you win. So remember, you are not powerless. You are not trapped. You are not helpless. You are free. So today, make the decision. No more manipulation. No more guilt. No more chaos. You are done because you are strong and free. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.